And welcome back to the Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity. We're talking all about enlightened parenting with Ellen Gottlieb today. And we have a wonderful question from Bravish on the Facebook live stream. Bravish asks, what's the balance between structure and freeform? Outcome-driven? Process? Quote, how to get that assignment done? One would love to just let them be. So I think he's kind of asking, like, what's the balance between, like, you know, sitting on top of your kids and getting them to get the homework assignment done, or just letting them play?
The first thing to do is to attune to the child. Understand that some children need more free time after school to run. Some kids need to sit in front of a video game. But obviously they can't sit and do video games all night and not do homework, because as much as we look to foster deep connection, there also have to be some boundaries.
Right.
I believe only in essential boundaries, not a ton of rules.
Okay. But what do you consider an essential boundary?
Essential boundary, from safety to education to responsibility, empathy,
health,
gratitude,
I assume.
Nutrition and health are essential boundaries.
Okay.
And sometimes we can make little moves within those boundaries. For example, with nutrition and Halloween we've talked about, we're going to let some more candy in the house.
Yes.
That's okay.
Right.
So we want to have some fun too. So homework is a big issue. It's a trigger. So the parents always need to first look at their triggers.
Right.
I never believe in being outcome-driven. I'm always process-driven. I don't care about the grade.
Okay.
I also believe if you're having a great deal of difficulty with the homework, allow the consequence to be that which the school imposes. Rather than being on their backs, get on their sides. Create the conditions in your home where homework is to be done and can be done in a quiet, clean place. So there should be a space. There should be time when the TV is off and the phones are turned off. And there should be a routine with homework time, because it is an essential boundary.
Right.
Then if there are problems with it, we work on it. As your children get older, bring them into the negotiating process on how to get it done. And then ultimately, let the world determine by the grade or the reprimand at school what's going to be. So get off their back and on their side.
So let them know that there are consequences to their actions, and that, you know, it's up to them to make the right choices. And if they make certain choices, there are going to be some not so good consequences, and if they make other choices, there are going to be some good consequences.
Exactly.
Do you believe in the like rewarding, you know, them doing stuff like, well, if you do your homework on time without me having to give you a hard time, you'll get extra something this weekend, or stuff like that?
I'm not big on rewards. I certainly don't like the money for grades at all. It's not a paradigm with which I agree. But it's certainly fine to say, if certain things get done, as a family, we'll be able to do something this weekend. In other words, but bring the kids in. What do they want to do this weekend? Bring them into, you know, they may not want to go apple picking, or they might, or their time with friends. So the thing we tend to do is take away control, and I think we need to cede control and give it to them and let them feel autonomous.
Right. So give them some power back.
Absolutely.
And say, you know, what do you want within reason? And then, okay, well, if that's what you want, like, this is what needs to happen in order for that to happen.
Right. Correct.
Cool. All right. Very, very good. Hope you like that, Ravish. I see we're getting lots of hearts on the Facebook live stream on this one. All right. I want to talk about, like, the holiday season and what's coming up. But before we get there, I do want to just touch upon sort of current events and what's been going on, because I think that affects the kids too. And in particular, I'm talking about, you know, the shooting that happened in Vegas this week, where, I mean, I think we still don't know why this guy did it. And, you know, the kids, they're probably the first ones to hear about it through social media. As a conscious parent, what do you say to a child when they hear about some crazy tragedy like that? And some kids, they're pretty sensitive. They respond to that and they get really upset over it, don't they?
They do. Sometimes. Now, random events have always happened and will always happen.
Absolutely.
There is you and I spoke about the collective unconsciousness in this world.
Yes.
The first thing I remind parents in moments like this is to stop and take that pause and watch your own anxiety.
Right.
I have a parent who said they're panicked to send their children off to school. And you know what? Those children are feeling every bit of it. And despite the mother telling me, of course I don't tell them, you need not tell them. That child knows.
They're going to feel it.
So the first thing to do is put a lid on your own anxiety if you're feeling it.
Okay.
And sit and allow the child to experience whatever it is that he or she may be experiencing. And simply allow it. You're feeling afraid. I understand.
Right.
I get that you're feeling afraid. It is scary. It does seem random. It was random.
Yes.
It could happen anywhere. And then remind your child that while these things make the news, and they certainly do, remind your child that it's still 1 in 100 million or so, and I'm really making up the quote, but it's still a very, very infinitesimal possibility that you will find yourself in that type of situation.
Right.
And that the power we have is to go on with our lives, to feel safe, to feel free, and to find joy.
Yes. Yeah. So it's really just, again, like I spoke about earlier with our quotes of the day, it's like finding the perspective and then, first dealing with your own anxiety so that you're not bringing your out of balance emotions into the situation and then helping your child to do the same.
Correct. You can't even help your child when your own emotions are out of balance. You can't be the role model. And that's why I loved your quotes. You talked about being the role model.
Right.
So embodying what you want them to be without putting it on them.
Right.
Be the person you'd like to see them become as a person, not in terms of what they might do or like, not in terms of activities, but just be the type, embody the values, and then have fun. We forget. After all of this, enjoy the moment. And you said it perfectly. You said be present in the moment, because those moments are fun.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And so just be there for them and be present with them and deal with your own stuff first.
Separate yours from theirs.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's October. It's the kids' absolute favorite holiday at the end of this month. Lots of sugar and candy flying around. How do you have healthy boundaries around that? All these other kids are eating all this candy, and if your kid has it, they're going to be bouncing off the walls for a while. Where do you want them to have fun, you want to allow it, but at the same time, there still needs to be some balance in there, doesn't it?
There's always a balance, certainly, yes. Focus on the costumes. Maybe focus on some good deeds at this time of collecting some non-perishables or things like that in addition to collecting candy to give away. There are ways of teaching gratitude and things and help and humanity and humanitarian values. But also, it's a time when there's going to be more candy.
Yeah.
So have fun with it. So there's candy for dinner one night. No one's ever died from a little extra sugar. I mean, of course, if your child is a diabetic.
Right, that's a different story.
But for the most part, it's going to be a time of fun and candy. So join them, have some chocolate.
I just always remember the line from the Peanuts TV special when I forget who it was, when Charlie Brown, I think, was talking to Linus, and he's like, oh, it's Thanksgiving soon. And he's like, Thanksgiving? I still haven't finished my Halloween candy.
Right. And the funny thing is you can sort of teach them, you can use the Halloween candy as yet another lesson to teach a little bit about waiting, about not having immediate gratification. Look at all this candy. How should we use it? How many pieces a day would be enough? What's enough?
Right. How long would you like it to last? Exactly. Would you like it to last a whole month, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
How are you going to make that last?
Yeah. Would you like to
put it in your room in a shoebox? You decide how long it's going to last. But if you're done with it the first day and you have a tummy ache, that's okay. But don't give in tomorrow and refill the shoebox.
Right. Yeah. And so get them to learn, if you indulge in all this candy, you may get a tummy ache, and that might not be so good for your body. But if you're not going to listen to me, okay, try it for yourself and see how you feel. And then, they'll experience it for themselves. And if you do it without judgment, maybe they'll be a little bit more present to it to learn the lesson. Because sometimes it's like if we say, no, you can't have it, because if you eat it all, you'll get a tummy ache, then they're going to want it that much more because it is forbidden fruit, right?
Yes, it need not be. Food should never be used as forbidden fruit. Food is just food for nourishment.
Right.
And if they do eat it all in one day, it won't be there the next day. And when they're sad the next day, allow them to be sad. Oh, it's so sad you ate all your candy.
Yeah.
I know, it's so hard not to have candy today.
Yeah.
Allow that, but don't mess with that boundary.
Yeah.
Don't then not be able to handle the sadness and go fill them up with more chocolate.
Right.
Because that's where the boundary gets misplaced.
Right, and that's really sort of one of the key lessons, and we even talked about it before a little bit, but it's like, allow it to be okay for your child to be sad sometimes.
Don't just allow it, invite it.
Invite it, yeah, encourage it, and honor it, and that, your kid doesn't have to be happy and smiling all the time. They also don't have to be frowning and sad all the time either. There should be that healthy range of emotions and allow it all.
I do not advocate deep depression, I promise you.
No, we definitely don't want that. Before we go to break, just quickly, I mentioned it before briefly, but bullying. Any particular advice for parents who have to deal with bullying if their kids are getting bullied in school?
Well, we talk about the parents of the child who is bullied, but we often don't talk about the parents dealing with the bully.
Bully, yeah.
And I believe there's a very fine line between the bullied and the bully.
Yeah.
It's really one and the same.
Right.
It's a co-creation of a need to control versus a disempowerment. And I think we need to deal with both sides of that equation.
Right.
And the parents who feel their kids are bullies sometimes are proud that those are the strong ones, but maybe there are unmet emotional needs there that also need to be addressed.
Yeah, like maybe the parent was bullied as a kid, so they want their son to be strong or daughter to be strong and bully someone else so that they're not the quote-unquote victim.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Beautiful, beautiful. Welcome, Gregory and Amy, to the Facebook live stream. Again, please feel free to type your comments, questions into the comment section of the Facebook live stream and share the video. When we come back, we'll kind of tie things up, believe it or not. This is our last break of the hour. And we'll talk about maybe enlightened parents having to deal with unenlightened parents and see where that takes us. So everybody, please stay tuned. You're listening to the Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, and we'll be back right after these messages.